Hey everyone. I've always been amazed, in a bad way, about the idea of like a streamer or a famous person getting swatted. Like it almost feels like a rite of passage where someone, somehow, somewhere, finds the address and the only thing that he's had to do with that information is you do the famous prank as old as time, to call the police on them and get them swatted. Now the reason why I said both streamers and famous people is because the guy I'm talking about today's video, Sean O'Malley, of course he's a bit of streaming on the side, you know, a bit of gaming, but of course he's way more known as a UFC fighter. Where even though he might be the only person in UFC to kind of bridge that gap between UFC fighting and streaming, I would still say like a large majority of his fame came from competing. Like when would you go to a bar and someone says, oh my god, did you see Sean O'Malley last night? And you respond with, oh yeah, like he killed in a Warzone, 20 kills. And the other guy's like, no man, the featherweight champion, you freak. But regardless of your career, if you like games yourself, you'll probably play it like on your free time. And if you're a bit of a cheeky streamer fan, you might want to stream to your fans as well, okay? So why not? It might be fun. Which he has for quite a while now. And do I watch him personally? No, not really. But it's more sort of story that happened recently in the weekend where someone like found his address and they still like did a generic joke of calling the police on him and swatting him. Using the story that he was living with his parents and just out of nowhere he snapped and he killed his parents right then and there with like some firearm.
Out the window to see like maybe the cops are maybe it was something else, but then they're on the intercom and I see a bunch of cops and they're like, walk out with your hands up. So I walk out, hands
Were
up.
you a little nervous or just like
I was
gonna listen?
I was like, I'm just gonna listen. I could get shot. I'm you know what I mean? Like shit.
Hey, like I said, if you would have rolled out there with your phone,
My
Snapchat.
Snapchat. What's up, guys?
I'm not kidding, when I read that, I laughed somewhat. Because if you're like a 911 operator, odds are if you heard that from some guy pretending to be panicking, you understand somewhat that, it would be authentic and legit. But with the context that someone like Sean O'Malley with like rainbow colored hair, just sitting at home all day playing Call of Duty without a shirt, that makes it way funnier. And I know this part's gonna sound very dumb because I'm about to prove myself wrong in a minute, but I legitimately feel like there should be like some kind of method, some way to find like for operators to like tell a person is lying and then like not send the police. Because it would just be like a joke or a guy streaming when they actually get there. Like that's happened so often, and you can find so many clips of that happening on camera that word swatted feels like it only means like some streamer being pranked and just that. Am I saying personally that there's never been a criminal event in history that requires a SWAT team? No, not really, which is there's a reason why people like this can like do it so often. Like some pasty white teenager all the way in Warsaw in Poland can call the police on someone in the USA and they need no proof at all. And the moment where the police got to Sean O'Malley's house who was clipped on the stream, and even though people do like laugh at this kind of stuff every day, I have to admit, when you're in a situation, it's so scary seeing like a 5-man army with shotguns and machine guns right in front of your house with the police badge. It would be scary enough that you have no other reaction being like, what the f***, what are they outside? What have I done wrong?
My mom calls Danny, and then Danny's watching on the cameras at the house, and she sees that she's watching. Let me find the video real quick. I'll send it to Garrett so you can pull it up. She didn't see that one. She saw this one.
Oh my god!
Watch this.
I wonder why he hammer fisted that.
Well, because he said that he does. If there was an active shooter, they wouldn't want him to know where they're at.
Oh,
no, fair enough. Fair enough. Thankfully, there wasn't an altercation, and they did walk out peacefully. But he did say in the podcast that it all it took was like one guy to sneeze and like pull the trigger and shoot him, and that would have been ridiculous. Like if some really talented UFC fighter that can kill any person in the octagon just got killed by being full of bullet holes. And in some other universe, that could have happened because I know a couple of UFC fighters that due to brain damage, they would try to like rush one of the officers, try to put him in a triangle choke, and just failed horribly. However, I will admit, back to the story that the person gave to the police about like him being a guy who lives with parents, just killed him out of nowhere. With that hair, you have to admit, if you were an officer right then and there that didn't know who he was, that color pattern of a rainbow sitting on top of his head would support that claim just a teeny bit. But then they put him in the car, sat him down for a bit, until like more officers arrived at the scene and they finally recognized who he actually was. And I know for a fact it was like 2000 movies that are like, wait, you don't know who that is? That's famous bantamweight champion Sean O'Malley / Twitch streamer. So then yeah, he was let go, and his way of like making himself feel better from always being shot like full of holes like in front of his front door was like just getting pizza. Do you feel I can't hear on that? Because he was so pissed off that I couldn't find the guy that called the police on him that he wanted to just find the weasel he called them and just beat the shit out of him.
really?
Yeah.
That's crazy, dude.
I wish we could find that little weasel that called him.
Honestly, odds are it's probably like some piece of shit, but it could have also been like some guy that was pissed off by his recent victory against the guy that he beat, that he was like a long fan of, the guy I've also been following for a long time,
Marlon Vera.
The last idea I have in my empty head is like, most fighters, if they unfortunately pass away, like was a champion, of course they have to have like one match between like two famous fighters to decide who's the actual champion. But imagine if the UFC actually announced like they actually have a new fight to announce who the bantamweight champion would be, because the previous one, the title holder, was shot. by a SWAT team. That would be insane. Insane. But I know a couple of fighters as well that, you know, they're so insane. They want to be like at the very top, that instead of having like one fighter retiring, they much rather, you know, be like the most well-known fighter, you know, the greatest of all time, and then die in that kind of similar way. So they never have to admit that someone else is stronger than them. Which, to be honest, now that I talk about it, you know, it kind of sounds badass, to be fair. Doesn't sound that bad.